What if creativity is about experimentation and play and not about being good at something? Hey y'all, welcome back to the Interlinked podcast. I am your host, Ray, and in today's episode, I want to reframe creativity as experimentation and play rather than focusing on your talent or being quote unquote good at something. I feel like this is a theme that keeps coming up in my life personally and just in conversation with other people. And I just wanted to talk about it because I think there's a lot of people out there that limit themselves. And maybe this is you, where it's like, oh, I'm not a creative person. Like the discussion on left brain and right brain, and you're just, oh, I'm very logical. I don't have the creative gene. But I think that we all are creative and there's so many different avenues for us to express that. And when you think of it in a way of, I can do this rather than, oh, I'm not good at this, I think it really changes and reframes the way that you go about any creative pursuit. So if you go and sit down to draw or you go and sit down to write poetry, you're not going in thinking, I'm not good at this thing. You're just thinking, let me play around with it. Let me experiment. And I think it removes a lot of the pressure of perfectionism and judgment. And in doing that, it really allows for genuine exploration and innovation. Mistakes are not seen as failures, but rather valuable learning experiences. So when you think, oh, damn, I'm trying to paint this thing and it looks like shit, give yourself some grace. Like, have we painted before? And if not, why are you going to sit here and expect yourself to be perfect at something that you've never done? Like take the mindset out that I can't paint unless I'm good at it. That's just not how we should go about anything because regardless of what it is, you have to start somewhere and you have to give yourself the opportunity to grow in whatever thing you're trying to do, whether it's a new job or a new skill or something creative, like I'm mentioning, painting or drawing or whatever it may be. You cannot come out the gate and just be like, oh, yeah, I'm great at this. And if you are, okay, everybody has their natural God given talents, whatever. But if it's something that you want to learn, take that mindset out that you have to be Picasso to paint. I think that the more we experiment and play, we actually can discover what gives us joy. Like, you don't think so much on, I'm doing this thing and I have to be great at it. No, I'm doing this thing because I actually love to draw. Yeah, I might not be the best, but I find joy in it. And that's really what matters in this life. Not being incredible at everything, but just finding joy in the things that we do like to do. You really can't expect to exist in your authenticity if you don't take chances. You have to let your imagination lead the way and you have to give yourself the space to explore. I really like this quote too. The act of creating something is always more important than the result. I recently posted something about me ranting on this subject on TikTok, and one of my friends actually commented this, and it really stuck with me because it's not the result. It's never the result. Like, if you think like a scientist, they're not worried about, oh, if I do this whole experiment and the result is not what I wanted, I'm a failure. They ultimately are doing the experiment to see. They're trying to find out. It's not going to be a guarantee. How about thinking about it in the way of, wow, this taught me something. Wow, I kind of improved my patience during this experience. Wow, I learned a little bit more than I knew yesterday. Think about the positives of the experiment. Think about you sitting down to draw one day and, all right, you're not happy with your blending. And then the more that you keep doing it, you kind of recognize, wait, I think I'm learning. I think I just blended something, and give yourself that applause. Like, know that everything is a process and you're going to take time getting to where you want to be. But again, the act of creating something is always more important than the result. So, for this episode, I'm going to give you guys 10 ways to boost your creativity. And I hope that you find these helpful. I hope that you can at least take one or two of these into your daily practices and see some improvements because we are all creative, whether you like to say you are or not. I believe that we all have something within us that allows us to create, as long as we're given the space and the grace to do so. Okay, number one, play around with fashion. Lately, I've been having so much fun with this, and I'm just exploring. I'm letting myself be a little bit more free. I feel like I used to be so basic and safe with my choices. And I just think in any capacity of life, it's really important to not put yourself in a box and to not just assign yourself to one aesthetic or one kind of vibe because your energy changes as we get older, your interests change, and free will is free. Like, if you want to wake up one day and start dressing Western as fuck, do it. If you want to wake up one day and start incorporating belts and accessories and all of that, like, you can go gradual or you could have a complete aesthetic switch and nobody cares. Like, at the end of the day, it's for you. Fashion is literally for you, not for anybody else. And I think it's really important that you let yourself go. You let yourself have fun and see what you're naturally inclined or drawn to. I feel like for me, I've always been complimented for my fashion sense, but I've also never felt like I've taken enough risks to like fully represent who I am and how I want to express myself. So, being able to thrift 99% of my closet, I think that's given me sort of an edge or some type of uniqueness in a way. And I do pride myself on that. And so I think just naturally it feels a little bit different or it stands out because it's not, oh, I got this on Amazon or I got this on Shein. Like, it's kind of, oh yeah, I thrifted this and you can't really duplicate it. And that's why I love thrifting so much. However, I feel like I don't take enough risks. And so that's been what I've been really focusing on lately. And I think it's important to know that, like I said, you can change your shit up whenever you want. Like, I've gone through so many phases when it's come to aesthetics. So, to just run through some of the aesthetics I've been through, starting in high school, I was definitely into the hippie vibe. I was always wearing, patterns and those stretchy pants that everyone had. And I loved crystals and nature and all of that. And so that was my vibe. Then, moving into college, I feel like I didn't really have a set style. I was kind of just going into whatever was trendy at the time, like COVID, that trendy eclectic shit. I was all over that, the swirls and the bright pink and the bright green. Like, I definitely fell into that. After that, of course, we had the rise of the clean girl aesthetic, and I definitely made an attempt with that one. The slick back bun and the gold jewelry and all of that. Then I was like, no, I cannot do the skinny jeans. I hate high waisted. Like, I was just constantly feeling so uncomfortable in my clothes. And I've talked a lot about this in my episode. I believe it was episode 6, masculine and versus feminine energy. But, anyways, I was just completely over trying to look very girly and feminine. That just really wasn't feeling like me. And so I started wearing baggy clothes and I got really into streetwear. And I really still love all of this. But recently I kind of was like, dude, your whole closet is black, white, gray. There's just no color. And that brings us to current day. I'm fucking loving color. I am loving plum and I'm loving berry and olive green and cobalt blue and brown and pale yellow. Like, if any of those colors are involved, sign me the fuck up. Sign me the fuck up. There's another quote that I like that says, the creative process is an act of perpetual discovery. I fucking love this because the more that I've played around with my clothes and colors recently, I'm discovering so much. I'm like, oh, I do like patterns. Oh, I do love that color. And for me, I've always considered myself very creative, but I'm also very logical too. Like, I'm a problem solver. And so when I pick up these cool pieces, it's almost like I'm solving a problem. Oh, this could be considered ugly, but how could I make this cute? Like, there's something about it, there's something in it that I'm seeing a vision for, but can I execute it? Like, oh, I love this color, but I hate the fit of this. Well, maybe I don't need to wear it as a shirt. Maybe I could wear it as a dress. Or maybe I could cut the sleeves off. Or maybe I could just use the fabric to make a new pillow. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are so many things that you can do with a piece of clothing. And I think so often a lot of us will just pick something up, and if it doesn't fit perfectly or in a traditional, socially acceptable fashion, we're like, oh, doesn't fit, put it back. But there's so much more you can do with it. Obviously, if it's jeans and like you can't get them up, I mean, that's kind of one of those outliers. But like for stretchy material, you can do so much. Like the world is your fucking oyster. And for me, it's been really cool to see how much doing this has opened up my natural instinct to layer and to mix patterns and combine colors. And I think it's not only given me more confidence, but it's also healed a piece of my inner child, which is kind of a crazy claim. But I promise you, when you see something and you naturally are like, I love that. But then that piece of you is like, oh, people would think that's weird. Or, oh, yeah, I think I would just be doing too much getting that. Like, you're kind of shutting yourself down in a way. You're hurting your inner child because they're excited. They want to get it, they want to try it on. And you're just like, no, 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 we're not doing that. It's like telling a kid no in the candy store. That little face where it's like, oh my God, I just let them down. Think about that when you pick up an item, or you don't even let yourself pick it up because you're like, no, that's too crazy. Try it on at the very least. Like, see how you feel in it. So, for your challenge, if you're going to the bar next weekend, or you have an event, or you're doing something, you're doing a dinner, whatever, I dare you to not wear a black top and jeans. I dare you. White top, black top, you get what I'm saying. Something basic. Don't do it. It's actually off limits. I want you to wear the brightest thing in your closet or the craziest pattern in your closet and see how you feel. See how other people admire your act of rebellion. Okay? I want you to get on Pinterest. I want you to create a completely new board. I want you to scroll through, see what stands out. Who the fuck cares if it's nothing like how you normally dress? I already said this. Your style is not fixed. You can decide to change it. So take that out of your mindset. But I really want you to avoid thinking about how you're going to be perceived. All right. Fashion is literally art. Fashion is self expression. Fashion is political. Fashion is defiance. Fashion is an opportunity for you to tell the world who the fuck you are before you even open your mouth. How many times do you look at somebody and you're like, damn, she looks so cool? Just based on the outfit. Based on the outfit alone, you're like, she must be the coolest fucking person alive because look at what she's wearing. We usually think this when there's a clear style or an authentic vision because it shows. We might think, oh, I wish I could look like that. I wish I could dress like that. The coolest thing you can do is be yourself. The coolest thing you can do is be yourself. When you love what you're wearing, others at the very least will admire your boldness. Okay? They might think, wow, she looks cool as fuck, but also I would never wear that. There's a distinction between thinking somebody looks cool and admiring their style and admiring the way that they express themselves, but also knowing, hey, that's not my style. Or maybe taking a little piece of it and saying, well, I don't typically dress Western, but I'm actually fucking with that bolo tie. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's something where you don't expect to see that very often. And when you do, it's like, oh, I think I could maybe incorporate that into my style. The key is dressing for you and not anyone's opinion of you. Remember, life is about experiencing and not about being perceived. The only perception that you should truly care about is your own and that little child inside of you, because that's who you should be shooting to please. And that, at the end of the day, is the person who's walking around, who's strutting their shit, and you want to feel good. If you know that you feel comfortable and confident in an outfit, who the fuck cares about what anybody else thinks? And I guarantee they're going to think highly because, like I said, if you own your shit, other people can't help but admire it. Okay, number two, engage in other art forms. The key here is, once again, you do not have to be perfect at something to enjoy it. Give yourself the grace to start something you've always wanted to be good at. And if you don't practice, how can you make progress? Just remember that you have to start somewhere. This experimentation mindset really reduces those creative blocks because you don't have the pressure to create a flawless masterpiece. Like, that is probably the biggest form of a creative block, is just thinking, well, if I start and it doesn't look like this, what was the point of doing it at all? You know, when you shift to a playful and a low stakes attitude, you take away this pressure. You're naturally going to unlock this flow state, and you're going to see how innovative and cool and creative you become when you don't have that weight on your shoulders of trying to be perfect, because no one is. Also, let's not forget that art is subjective. When you walk into an art museum, not everybody is loving the same painting. Not everybody is seeing the same thing in the same painting. You know what I'm saying? Like, beauty lies within the eyes of the beholder, and somebody might look at a painting and feel something from their childhood. And obviously, the artist had no idea that's what they were going to feel. But for you, I think you need to give yourself grace in knowing you're not going to be perfect. But when you have a view of yourself where it's like, hey, I'm trying and I feel good about this, you'll naturally have that confidence to think, yeah, I know other people are going to find value in this. And even if they don't, who the fuck cares? You're making art for you to express yourself. And then whatever happens from there, however people perceive it, or if they like it or if they hate it, that doesn't matter. I believe we are all artists. So what I want you to do is figure out your creative outlet and pour into it. For me, this looks like recording 10 TikToks a day. Like, honestly, I'll talk more on this in number 6, but whether I'm giving advice or putting together a cool outfit or trying a new edit, these are all creative acts. And I've been giving myself a little bit more credit lately because every time I decide to post a video, that's a chance I'm taking on myself. And so I've been playing around a lot more. I've been trying new effects and new angles, and I've been continuing to remind myself that this is a fucking learning experience. Like, yeah, I might not be the best editor on the app, or I might not have the coolest outfit on the app. Obviously impossible, but I'm being true to myself and I'm having fun. And that's all that matters. People want to see the real you. In a society where everything is so curated and everything is so aesthetic, really, people want to see the raw and real. That's what they're craving, because it makes you feel more normal to know, like, oh, she's not perfect and neither am I. So let's say social media is not your thing. If you are into other things, I kind of want to give you a quick way where you can start doing that now. So, for photography, what I want you to do this week is ask one of your friends to have a photo shoot. I used to do photo shoots all the time in high school. We literally would be like, bro, I want to have a photo shoot today. Like, let's pick out our outfits. We would go to like a parking garage, or we would go and get coffee, and then we would take pictures outside. And we had so much fun. So I want you to think of a theme and ask one of your friends. Go take pictures. Okay, moving on. If you're someone who's into writing, I want to bring up a cool idea that I heard about on TikTok. This guy basically creates himself his own magazine spread, I think monthly. And so what he does is, I believe he goes on Canva or some type of site like that. He creates a layout. And then let's say there's a prompt or something he just wants to share about his week or himself, whatever. He would script it out. He would write it in a document. He would put it on that background that he just created. So if he's doing a whole graphic design, like he's creating a spread. So it's gonna look cute. He also put pictures of himself or things he actually took photos of. So you're kind of incorporating a lot of mediums in this, and it's definitely something that I want to try. And I would encourage you to try it as well. You don't have to be crazy with the editing, or, if you're not somebody who's really into the graphic side of it, maybe just add a couple clip art images and just see how you feel. Like, it's kind of fun to be delusional in a way and be like, yeah, I'm on the cover of Vogue, but really it's just your own magazine. And also, it's cool to look back on. Like, a journal, okay, yeah, you can read back through what you said from 2 weeks ago, but seeing it visually, I think is so fucking cool. If you don't like this idea, maybe just start blogging. Like, find a site that you can write on. Maybe you just start writing Substack articles or something creative in that way. I want you to write this week. And if you need prompts on that, I would suggest just going on Pinterest. Okay, if you're into music this week, I want you to try to write a new song or learn how to play an existing one. Next, if you are, I guess this is kind of along with photography, but vlogging is something that I recently started doing, and I think it's so fucking fun. Get out your phone. You don't need a crazy camera. Go record for maybe a weekend or a day, and it really forces you to romanticize your life. Like, I posted my first YouTube video recently, and it was a vlog about the worst hotel I've ever stayed in, and, just moving my sister back into her dorm. But all of the negatives aside, I think that it's such a fun video to watch, and it's so nostalgic. Like, it just happened, but I already am like, oh my God, I think this is so cool. I can look back on myself laughing and me with my sister. It's a cool little keepsake, and I would really recommend it. So start that this week if you're kind of into vlogging. Okay, next we have digital art slash, I guess, mixed media, because you could do this in any way that you want to. If you want to do it online or if you want to do it on paper, what I want you to do is create a fake commission from a company and say they hired you to create something. So, for instance, they need you to create a flyer, or they need you to create an invitation or a new logo or a sandwich board for their restaurant, or maybe, there's a contest. Like, currently, this is actually a real contest. Klee Kitchen, like the sauerkraut brand, they are holding a contest for graphic designers to create a t-shirt, I believe, or a new type of design. And it's a contest. So artists are encouraged to submit their work. You get a prize, whatever, whatever. This kind of just inspired me because you can make this shit up. Like, find your favorite brand. Maybe it's a clothing brand. Say they hired you. Literally tell yourself, okay, yeah, Cold Culture, they hired me. I need to create a new hoodie design, and start making it. I want you to do that this week. All right, if you're into cooking or baking, this week I want you to find a completely new recipe and try to recreate it. I know for me, my birthday's coming up and I want to create a really cool cake. So I need to practice because I've only made a cake one other time in my life, and I think it turned out pretty good. But what I'm trying to do now is a little bit more advanced. So get after that this week. Okay, obviously there's a bunch of other art forms. Those are just kind of the main ones I think of, but we're going to move on now. The third thing that you can do to be more creative is experiment with fun activities, okay? We're all sick of going out to the bars. I'm just going to speak as a collective because I personally feel like they've gotten really old lately. I don't know if anybody else agrees, but just seems like the entire club culture has shifted, and it's that damn phone. We got to attribute it to that, but I think there's a lot more things that we can be doing besides going out. So here's some alternatives. Game nights. Okay. I just went to my friend's birthday party and we played this game. I think it was called Categories. Basically, it's like you click a button, it selects the category. So let's say it's pop culture or nature or whatever it may be. So you select that and then you get a word. Okay. You have to basically get your team to understand what word you're talking about without saying the word. All right. So if you're talking about a leaf. All right. You can't say the word leaf, but you need to be like, it's kind of involved with plants, or you put this usually in a pot with soil. It's part of a flower. We can't say leaf, but your team is going to get it with all of those context clues. So a lot of the times it was catchphrases too, like diamond in the rough. You would have to somehow get your team to say that catchphrase. And it was just so fun and playful, and it made me feel smart as fuck, not to mention, like, I don't know, I don't feel like I get that rush being out at the bar. But anyway, game nights, highly recommend. You could also do craft nights and be creative with others. Obviously, the more the merrier. Another thing that I think is really fun is dressing up in theme. So maybe you and your friends are like, okay, tonight we're all gonna be grandmas and go out and just walk the streets and maybe get lunch, and you all have wigs on. We're creative. We have to come up with an outfit, and it's something that's a fun alternative to just the traditional going out to a bar or getting lunch in your normal clothes. Something else that I think would be fun is taking a dancing class. I always said I would be so much more cool if I could dance. And recently I'm like, you know what? We got to start somewhere. And maybe the time to start is now. So if you see me trying to get into hip hop, just mind your business, okay? Something else that I think would be fun is designing your own jewelry. So you can go to Michael's, you can get some supplies, and then create your own necklace or create your own earrings, whatever you want to do. Get after it. I think it's so fun to have unique pieces. And it's also really fun when people compliment you and they're like, oh my God, I love your necklace. And you get to say, thanks, I made it. Like, hell yeah, you fucking did. You know what I'm saying? Like, that shit is so cool to me. So go make a necklace. Something else that I think would be fun is going to Walgreens, printing pictures, and starting a scrapbook. I think this is the perfect time because summer is over now, and you can compile all of those amazing memories that you had into a cute little scrapbook. Then you can continue this throughout the year. So it's not just, oh, I do this once and I'm done with it. It's kind of cool to see your life visually. Like, oh, obviously you could go in your camera roll, but something about it being cut out and having little stickers and being crafty, it's fun and it's cool to look back on. So start a scrapbook. On the fashion note, you can definitely go in that closet, take a look, see if there's something that you could upcycle. So maybe something doesn't fit you properly or it's just kind of plain. Is there something you could do? Is there something you could add to it? Like, let's be creative and maybe gather in some other fabric or some other, little charms or whatever and create something cool. Another activity is doing something in nature. I think I can't recommend this enough. I mean, there's literal science behind you staring at a body of water and feeling more peaceful and more creative and innovative. So, if anything, go stare at a body of water. See what comes to your mind. Maybe you just start writing a poem. Maybe you just start journaling. Maybe you just start drawing. Like, all of those natural creative instincts come when we are in peace and when we are in silence. Our own mind is not racing with all the overstimulation around us, and we get to just kind of relax and exist and be peaceful and be present. Another fun activity would be going to a sporting event. I recently have decided I would like to be more involved with sports, and I think that it's going to be a battle, but it's always something to do. It's fun. Of course, you're probably going to be drinking, but let's make it more fun. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's better than just being at a bar. Instead, you're outside during the day and you're repping your team and maybe you're playing games. Like, there's usually cornhole or, flip cup or whatever. Like, you're still doing more than just sitting in a booth. Okay, so that was my list of fun activities. We're going to move on. The fourth thing that you can do to improve your creativity is boost your self-confidence. You will never allow yourself to create if you continue to convince yourself there's no point, or no one would like this, or I don't think people would pay for this, or I suck at blank. Girl, let yourself make bad art. Let yourself make bad art. There's literally no way to get better if you don't start. I have to literally scream at my sister, not scream, but I have to be the voice of reason with her. She's in art school, and the confidence is constantly something where I'm like, "Oh my god, she's the most talented person in the fucking world," and she thinks that's bad. Like it just blows my mind. But sometimes you really just need to work at your confidence in order to further yourself, in order to believe you can do it. You can go bigger than just being in art school. Like, no, you could be at a booth selling this shit and making money. That's the confidence you need to have. Not, oh, yeah, I made this and it's okay. No, it's not fucking okay. It's exceptional. It's worthy. It's invaluable. It's unique. It's priceless. Like, get to selling. You know what I'm saying? I'm constantly telling her that. And I feel like we all need that in our life. So if you don't have an annoying sister barking up your ass like she does, what I want you to do is speak some affirmations. Of course, I always recommend this. So let's go ahead. I trust that I am good enough. I believe that what I'm creating is valuable. My authenticity is my greatest gift. Creating is productive. My ideas are worthy and deserve to be shared. Okay, so those are just off the dome, but if you can think of others, depending on what you're specifically struggling with and where your lack of confidence lies, go for it. Write these down, say them in the mirror, say it while you're doing the creative practice, while you're painting. I trust that I'm good enough. I trust that I am good enough. I'm painting right now, and I trust that I'm good enough to blend these fucking colors. Say it. I mean, see if that improves or enhances the piece, because a lot of the times it's like you're literally in paralysis because you're like, bro, if I add color, I'm gonna ruin this. That's how I've always been. Looks great black and white, but then I'm like, I just know when I add color, it's gonna look like a fucking fourth grader made it. But you gotta let yourself start somewhere because you're not gonna know how to blend if you never use color. Okay, the fifth way you can be more creative is be more present. All right, I touched on this a little bit earlier, but recognize when you're creating for others' approval versus your own. I think a huge one is avoid doom scrolling to distract yourself or for quote unquote inspiration. I have felt myself fall into this trap pretty often because you kind of think, oh, I don't have all the pieces I need to say this thing. For me, like with a podcast, I'd be like, oh, I don't have all the pieces or quotes that I need to make this episode really good. So then I would get on Pinterest and I would scroll through and I would find quotes and I'd find more quotes and then I'd see more things. And before I know it, I've been on Pinterest for like an hour and I just ultimately feel really overwhelmed now because I have way too many ideas and it's hard to not copy or mimic others' work when you're really into it. Like, especially when you're drawing, I think it's really important to not always be looking at an image in order to create your own. This is something that I've really been trying to help my sister get at because she's amazing when it comes to copying basically what somebody else did and putting her own spin on it. Like, obviously, it's not copy paste, but it's like, oh, you clearly know how to match proportions and you clearly know how to see something and then create from it. But something that she wants to be better at is creating just from her mind, especially going in the angle of, oh, I want to be an illustrator. Like, you got to figure out your own style and you got to figure out if I'm about to create a children's book, what are my little creatures going to look like? What is my style? And you can't really gather that by overwhelming yourself with other people's creatures or creations. Like, it's hard to not be like, oh, that's what I want mine to look like. And then you don't feel as good because you're like, did I kind of like copy what they did? It's not exactly, but I just don't feel like it came from me. And I think that's a huge thing. We try to find inspiration, but we end up copying or mimicking. And it's not from our own life experiences and it's not from our own energy, our own insecurities, or whatever we're trying to express. It's not from us. So it doesn't feel authentic. And so I want to challenge you to try to create something without looking at anything for inspiration. See what comes to your mind and see what you can do with that. I also want you to let yourself be bored. No music, no TV, no podcast, no TikTok, just you and your thoughts. Bonus points, set out a pen and paper and see what you come up with. Okay. I am a huge fan of silent car rides. I've talked about this many times, but I think talking to yourself is very powerful. I think just staring at a wall and seeing what you're thinking about is very powerful. A lot of the times we drown out all of our thoughts by, oh, I'm eating, let me throw on a video. Oh, I'm cleaning my apartment, let me throw on a song. And it's like, wait, in your day, at any point, is there direct silence? Or do you feel like you're constantly talking to someone, you're constantly on FaceTime, you're constantly listening to something, you're scrolling on TikTok? Like, that's a lot. Take a break. Another thing, avoid social media when you wake up and when you go to sleep. Your best ideas are always going to come at this time. So avoid going on your phone. Next, we have meditating. I really want you to get out of the mindset that, like, oh, I'm not being productive if I meditate, or, oh, meditating doesn't work for me. Stop thinking of it that way. I recently started this book and I think it's really helped me with meditating because there's so many limiting beliefs that we have around this practice, and just knowing that it's okay to have your thoughts drift away, or it's okay to accidentally move your toes or whatever. You're going to do that. You're not going to be perfect. You're not going to have this awakening every time you meditate, but just knowing that you're present and you're here and you're trying and you're doing the breathing, that is all worthwhile. And again, you'll get better over time. If this is something that you feel like you're struggling with, the book that I'm reading is called Wherever You Go, There You Are by John Kabat-Zinn. And yeah, it's just an amazing book. Really gets you to understand that meditation is the art of paying attention. And it doesn't have to be much more than that. It is what you make it, but you have to keep working at it for it to be something that's actually useful and practical for you. Okay, the last thing on being present is take breaks. Give yourself proper amounts of time to work on things. Like, you can't rush greatness. And when you work at something for hours upon end, I feel like not many good things come out of it. Like, my sister, for instance, she's in this internship and she had to create a flyer. Okay, it was like minimal instructions, but it basically was for this coffee invitation, and she needed to include kind of a diversity component, and beyond that, that's all she really had to work with. She spent literally 8 hours working on this, and by the time she was calling me to ask for my opinion, it was like the stages of like, something's wrong with this, but I can't tell. And we're like sitting there like, maybe we need to make that bold. No, we need to scoot this down. No, let's add that image to the middle. All right, no, let's scoot this to the left. And I'm like, oh my God, bro, we both need a break. You know what I'm saying? Like, once you've been looking at something and readjusting it and kind of tweaking it for so long, it's just, you're doing too much. If you're able to step away because you gave yourself the proper amount of time to do so, you come back with fresh eyes and you'll be like, oh, we didn't need to do any of that. The problem was just this font is too big. You know, like, you'll just look at it and it will click for you. Even the suggestions I was giving, it's not like they were groundbreaking, but like, for her, it was like, oh, yeah, that is what it is. She's just been staring at it for so long. You can't really tell anymore. You don't have like the capacity, you don't have the energy. You're over it, you're overwhelmed, you're ready to be done. And that's never a way to go about art. So take breaks and don't rush it. If you know the deadline is Tuesday, don't start on Monday night. You're not going to be happy with what you're creating and you're going to be stressed more than anything. So the ability to be present isn't really there because the whole time you're working on it, you're just thinking about how it's due tomorrow, thinking about how you have work, thinking about how you have no sleep. Like, it's all avoiding you being present. So do not rush. Do not rush. Okay, the sixth way I think you can boost your creativity is keeping a running document of your ideas. So I've talked about this before in many episodes, but something that I do is on my home screen, I have only the things that I need, not a lot of clutter because I know I need my calendar. So I need to know if I'm doing shit today. I need to have my few apps like Planet Fitness, Messages, Safari, very minimal. Okay. The other big widget that I have on my screen is called tasks. And what I do is anytime I have an idea, so whether this is when I'm driving or when I'm in the shower or when I first wake up or literally wherever I am, I might be at work, it doesn't matter. I write it down. I write it down. I write it down. I write it down. Now, a lot of these I end up using as TikToks. So it's like, oh, if I have an idea, I'll probably end up talking about it on there. Or maybe it's something where I want to create an art piece on it, or I want to create a piece of writing surrounding this concept. Whatever it is, I write it down. And the thing I like to tell myself is every time I press record, I'm proving to myself that these ideas are valuable, that what I'm telling the world matters, that people can benefit and learn from what I have to say. And if you don't make TikToks, again, maybe these ideas are something that you turn into art. So maybe it's a painting, or maybe you make a song about it, or you write in a blog post. Whatever your art form of choice is, like I mentioned above, allow these concepts to translate into creations. Okay? Concepts to creations. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing for not only you to enhance your confidence, but also for you to prove to yourself that you are creative. All right? Get in the mindset you are creative. Okay, the seventh way to boost your creativity is surround yourself with people that inspire and uplift you. Have deep conversations. Avoid having conversations that are shallow about the weather, about drama, whatever. Have conversations about shit that you care about. Next, you can make art with your people. I think it's really fun to create in the presence of somebody else and kind of talk and laugh and have conversations on top of making something. Next, I want to encourage you to diversify your community. So if you've been friends with the same people, since high school, or you guys kind of all have the same energy or the same style or whatever it is, I want you to find people that don't share the exact same perspectives as you. And of course, you can't ever expect anybody to be exactly who you are, but the longer that you hang out with people, the more comfortable that you are. I feel like you guys kind of all start to have a similar mindset, or you have a similar, way of thinking. So hearing perspectives from people who don't share your experiences is really powerful. It's really eye opening, and it's just good to expand your horizons. Like, again, having deep conversations, maybe you're not having that with your friends because you guys are kind of always just talking about the same thing. They know your family, they know your drama, they know your boyfriend, whatever. So you're constantly just like talking about that. But then you go and you hang out with somebody brand new, and it's cool because they don't know you, you don't know them, and you get to learn about, the way that they live their life, or the things that they do for fun, or just the way that they view the world. It's very powerful. If you feel like you don't know how to make these connections, if you live in the Cleveland area, stay tuned. I do have something cooking and I'm really excited to share it. So, yeah, we'll just kind of leave that little Easter egg there, but I'll talk more about it later. Okay, the eighth way to be more creative is try new things and try new places often. As humans, we naturally are going to crave comfortability and, sticking to the same routines. And when we wake up in the morning, if we find something that works, we do it. Going to this coffee shop, taking the same route to work, getting off work, going to the same grocery store, stopping at our favorite dinner spot. It's like we get so used to things because maybe in your mind, it's like, I don't want to go to a different coffee shop because I don't want to waste my money. And I know I like this one. Okay, fair, 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 fair. Like in this economy, I get it. But you got to try new things. Like you got to branch out. If you find that you don't like this new coffee shop or whatever, okay, at least you tried it. At least you tried it. How much did you waste? $6? We can get that back. Like money comes back around. So I want you to try new restaurants. I want you to try some art classes. Stay up to date with the things that are going on in your city. For me, Cleveland, I mean, there's shit actually going on all the time, and half the time I don't know about it. Like, tell me why I get on TikTok and I find out after the fact that there was literally a fucking Gilmore Girls themed event in Medina. Like, why the fuck did I not know about this? I would have been there. I would have been set. I would have been early. Yeah. So I just say that to say there's a lot of cool things going on, whether it's, a food truck festival or a little exhibit at the art museum. Whatever it is, check it out, stay up to date, and go try it. Whatever you can do to change your surroundings, go do it. Go on a trip, even if it's just an hour away. I know for me, I go to Kent to get my tattoos. And the one time I was running real early because I was like, I kind of just want to explore and get a coffee and maybe see what's around town. And I found the cutest little area. There was all these shops and I was just going in and out, shopping around. And I was like, this was literally 45 minutes away. You know what I'm saying? Or like Oberlin, I'll go there and be like, oh my God, this is such a cute fucking town. Or, 2 hours away, go to Columbus, go to fucking IKEA. Like, I don't know, change your surroundings. I'm always an advocate of this one, but try a new workout class. I've talked about ClassPass before. If you're not familiar, you pay a monthly fee and then you get to do all of these different workout classes with credits. Highly recommend that. I have been slacking in that category. However, the app is great in theory and I need to get back on track with that. When you exercise, you're literally improving your mental clarity. You're increasing your blood flow and your oxygen to your brain, and naturally, more ideas are going to flow, more energy is going to flow, that digestion is going to flow, So everything flows better when you are being active, and it doesn't have to be a workout class, but just go for a walk. Maybe you take a drive, maybe you go to a metro park and you just go walk. Go do that. Move your body, try a new place. There's a lot of things that are always sitting under our nose and we don't go to them. We don't branch out. It's constantly like, oh my God, I didn't even know that was there. Or, yeah, I always pass that. I just haven't been. Like, I really need to go. Make that effort this week. Okay, number 9. What I want you to do is engage in creative media. All right. So I want you to find some new music, maybe go to a comedy show or, watch an old childhood cartoon. I was at a bar recently and they were literally playing one of the old cartoons I used to watch on the TV there. We were kind of all just talking about how nostalgic it was. And it was cool to see how far we've progressed with animation. But we can almost become so desensitized to it in our new day and age because it all looks the same. Like it's all crisp, it's all clear, and it's perfect in a way. So seeing something that's a little sloppy or a little pixelated or, not as bright, it's cool and it's inspiring. So when I say engage in creative media, sometimes it's seeing things that you just haven't seen in a long time. On this note of TV, it's also very inspiring to watch those award winning movies. Like, obviously, we all know, oh, Inception or the Titanic, things like that. It's like, okay, it's award winning for a reason. And if you've been putting off, watching it because it is mainstream, just watch it. Look through award winning movies and see if any of them stand out to you and allow yourself the time to sit down and watch them. Because for me, I've always viewed movies as, oh, this is unproductive or this is a waste of time. But when I watch a movie and I'm actually into it and I walk away from it with a new perspective, that's when I'm like, okay, I need to watch more movies. Like, oh my God, what have I been doing not watching this? And in addition to giving you a new perspective on things, I think it can also really inspire you to do an action. Like, I remember watching Karate Kid or Step Up and then thinking, oh yeah, I want to learn this. I want to be like them. I want to do this skill too. Or I'll watch, Black Mirror and I'm like, oh my God, this is such a crazy, cool concept. And it's so different from anything that I've ever thought of or heard. And so moving on from watching this show, I'm like, oh, this is how I can be more creative in my day to day. This is how I can be more curious. This is how I can be more innovative. This is how I can be more imaginative. Another good example is the Marvel movies. I put those off for a fat minute because I always thought, oh, this is like an action boy movie, you know? But it's actually really, really interesting and it's really intellectual. And Iron Man in particular, I was just like, oh, wait, I love this. Like, it's so creative and cool and it challenges your way of thinking. And so any movie that can do that, I'm sad. Like when I watch a really good movie, sometimes I'm like, oh my God, I just thought of an invention. Write it down. Or I'm just like obsessed with the soundtrack that was in the movie. And then I look it up and then I find a whole new genre that I didn't even know existed because I'm like, wow, now I feel like this music is associated with this scene. And that's what I think about every time. And I'm obsessed because I have a fucking visual with the music. How sick. Or I'll see what people are wearing in the movie and maybe it takes place, in the 60s. And I'm like, wait, I actually would love to wear that. And then I might go on Pinterest and I might start looking into this style. Like I might just be kind of interested in 60s fashion now. And I might make a board and I might go to the thrift store and I might play around with it. So you never know what media can do for you and the ways that it will inspire you. Another underrated form of media is watching music videos. My friends and I literally sat around for probably an hour just going through YouTube and being like, oh my God, let's watch this old Justin Bieber music video. Or, we're watching the Billy music videos or whatever we were kind of into or seeing pop up. We're just clicking on it. And then it's like, sometimes it can be pretty surprising as to why they choose to go about the music video in a certain way. Like, it doesn't seem straightforward. And for that reason, you kind of have to use some, intelligence or a little bit of creativity to understand what are they trying to portray? Why did they decide to show this imagery instead of what I would traditionally think would go with this song? Like, did I actually understand the lyrics or is there something that they're trying to tell me and I didn't pick up on it? So watching music videos can be really cool because when you hear a song, you naturally associate your own perception with it and your own experiences, and you kind of make it into something that means something to you. Whereas the art, the song, it was created for the artist. They had a meaning in mind when they made it. And so watching a music video, you get a little bit more of a context as to what that meaning is. And maybe it's nothing like what you thought. So, to wrap up media, I'll just say indulge in more of it. Images and videos, they have a way of conveying things that our words just simply cannot. On that note, of course, I got to talk about paper version media. So, magazines. I personally fucking love the New Yorker, the illustrations, the articles, the little fucking comic strip. I love it. So that's a form of media that I like to look at. However, I think fashion magazines and food magazines and travel magazines can also give you that sense. So maybe go buy a magazine. They're low key expensive as fuck now, though, I will say, because when I went to go do some type of scrapbooking thing, the magazines were like $10. So maybe try to thrift those. But yeah, magazines are very cool. And obviously books too. Read some books, feel inspired, maybe branch out of your typical genre and see if that encourages you to do something with it. Like you might read a book and be like, oh my God, I want to create a painting about this. Or I want to create music about this. Or I'm inspired to create the character I just read about, Maybe you decide to go to a play. I always thought I hate musicals. I'm not a play person, but I saw To Kill a Mockingbird and I was fucking blown away by the performers. And so I definitely was inspired by that. I think plays are really cool now, and even I would love to see more. So, expand your horizons, try things out, give things another shot. Even if you think, oh, this is something I don't like, maybe you've changed a little. Maybe there's a different way you can enjoy it and a different style of it that you do like. So don't box yourself in. Okay, last item, number 10, morning pages and artist date. So this is going to sound like, what the fuck are you talking about? But I have been reading this book called The Artist's Way. And if you're not familiar, it's basically a workbook for enhancing your creativity and healing your artist blocks. So this book has been fucking wonderful for me. And okay, the readings are great, the prompts are great, but above all, the morning pages have had the biggest impact on me. And if you're not familiar, it's basically when you wake up, you have to write 3 pages in a journal. Okay. There's no parameter as to what you have to write about. It's basically just a brain dump, and it forces you to not immediately get on your phone and start scrolling. So let's say you're having a stressful day at work. You go to bed, you wake up, you're still thinking about work, write it down. Or maybe you have no idea that you're stressed about something because you just start writing and you're like, oh my God, wait, what? I didn't realize this was impacting me. So it brings to the surface a lot of the things that maybe you just haven't given yourself time to think about. When you wake up and when you go to sleep, those are the best times to be in touch with yourself and give yourself some silence. When I say be present, this is the best time to. And I think you can do it a lot easier when you got that pen, you got that paper, and you can just write. The key is you don't want to look back at what you wrote. So I've been writing for 7 weeks, I believe, and I have not read anything I've wrote. You only write and then you close it. So back on me saying, oh, you're not going to be perfect at things. If I were to look back at what I wrote, I might start to have judgments, or I might start to think, oh, that was such a stupid thought, or why was I even stressed about that? Or why did I write this way? Or that didn't sound good. All of those things are unproductive because that's not the point of why we're writing. The point is to purge, to clear your mind, to be present, to get in touch with what you're struggling with, and to let yourself be free to say whatever the fuck you want to and not judge yourself about it. So when you write these pages, do not read them. Just write and then move on with your day. I notice if I'm not doing my morning pages, I forgot or I slept over somewhere and I'm like, shit, I don't have my notebook. My day is so much different. Doing the morning pages sets me up to have such a peaceful and present day. It makes all the difference. I think if you start your morning with scrolling, the rest of your day is scrolling. And similarly, if you end your day with scrolling, you're just going to keep repeating the cycle over and over and over again. So try your best to not scroll right before bed and right when you wake up. And these morning pages, they're going to help you with that. Okay, as for the artist date, this is also something from the workbook. What you do is every week you take yourself on an artist date. And what this means is you plan a solo date that involves something creative. So you might go to the park and have a picnic. You might go to the beach and bring your sketchbook. You might go to a coffee shop and bring just a notebook. Whatever it is, it doesn't have to be some crazy endeavor. It doesn't have to cost a lot of money. It could be free. You just take yourself on a date and have the intention that this is my artist date this week. I have the freedom to be creative and to fuel my inner child, because that's what you want. You want to feel good, you want to feel present, and you want to feel creative. Whatever sparks that for you, go do it. Okay, so just to recap, the 10 things that you're going to do to boost your creativity are: number 1, play around with fashion. Number 2, engage in other art forms. Number 3, experiment with fun activities. Number 4, boost your self-confidence. Number 5, be more present. Number 6, keep a running document of your ideas. Number 7, surround yourself with people that inspire you and uplift you. Number 8, try new things and places often. Number 9, engage in creative media. And number 10, do your morning pages and artist state. So as I always do, I'll end off with the quote that I started with, and that was, what if creativity is about experimentation and play and not about being good at something? So, above all, I really hope that this episode gave you a different perspective on what it means to be creative, and also the ways in which you might be preventing yourself from being creative, just in the way that you think, or the way that you operate, or the way that you box yourself in certain categories. All of those things can be attributing to why you view yourself as not a creative person. Once you remove all of that perfectionism and that judgment, and you just play a little bit more, you'll realize you do possess creative qualities. And you are capable of doing the things that you've always wanted to do, whether that's painting or drawing or making music or starting a vlog, whatever that is, give yourself the floor to do so. Be more like a scientist, experiment. Everything in this life is an experiment, and the more experiments that you have, the better that you get to know yourself, the better you get to see what you value, what gives you joy, what brings you peace. And no matter what, you're going to be learning something along the way. If you're thinking like a scientist, you would understand that when they perform an experiment or a trial, they don't just do it in isolation. They don't do just one. There's strength in numbers. When we say, oh, that's a worthy study, it's because they performed it multiple times, thousands of times maybe. It's not, oh, they saw this happen once, so now it must be fact, you know? And even in my background with math, you don't get to just walk around and call anything a theorem. There was work that went into that. You know, for something to have the label of a theorem, it had to be proved over and over and over and over again. You had to use all of this background knowledge and these postulates and definitions and logical reasoning, and all of that had to be done before you can say, oh yeah, this is Pythagorean theorem, you know? So for you to think like a scientist or a mathematician, maybe that's how you categorize yourself. I'm logical. I'm not creative. Well, even the most logical people, they have to engage in play. They have to experiment. They have to try things out and fail at them. Do you think that the best mathematicians, the best scientists just figured shit out immediately? Obviously not. They had to give themselves the grace to start, be bad at something, not be able to figure it out, but to work at it and eventually come to a conclusion. Remember to appreciate the process over the actual result itself. You know, people always say, it's about the journey, not the destination. Yeah, they weren't lying. It really is. So, to end this episode off, I'm going to paint a little picture for you. And I want you to actually visualize that this is you. So, right now, you're on a little hike, okay? You have a book bag on, and in that book bag, you have 10 bricks. I gave you guys 10 ways to boost your creativity. So, picture each one of those ways as a brick, all right? It's really heavy right now because you're not playing around with fashion. You're not engaging in art forms. You're not experimenting with fun activities. You're not boosting your self-confidence. You're not being present. You're not keeping a running document of your ideas. You're not surrounding yourself with people that inspire and uplift you. You're not trying new things or places often. You're not engaging in creative media. You're not doing your morning pages in Artist Day. All of those bricks are still in there because you haven't checked off these items. So as you do, imagine yourself removing that brick. You're going out this weekend, and like I said, you decide not to wear the fucking black tank top and the jeans. You decide to wear a fun pattern, and you wear a skirt, and you wear these shoes that have been sitting in your closet for a long time, and you find a way to style them. Boom, remove the brick. Okay? You decide, oh, I actually am going to have this photo shoot with my friend. Boom, remove a brick. You decide, oh, I'm actually going to skip out on the bar because I'm going to go do a dancing class. Boom, remove a brick. You decide to speak those affirmations I told you about. Remove a brick. Oh, you created something and you didn't even look at anything for inspiration when you made it. Remove a brick. You came up with a fun idea and you wrote it down. You downloaded that tasks app and you put it as a widget on your home screen. Brick gone. Oh, you decided to branch out and you created a connection with somebody new and you had a really eye-opening conversation. Yeah, let's remove a brick. You go to a new restaurant. Remove a brick. You decide to watch a movie this weekend. It was really inspiring. Remove a brick. Oh, you decided to not doom scroll in the morning and you instead started journaling? Ooh, let's remove a brick. You're feeling weightless. You're feeling light as a feather. You are walking around in this world as a creative being. Okay? So picture that backpack. Now it's really light. Every step that you take, you're like, oh my God, I can breathe. I'm not distracted. I'm not in my own head. I'm not having low self-esteem. I'm feeling good. I'm looking good. And I actually feel creative. Yeah, that's the goal. So, thank you guys so much for listening to this episode. I really felt like it was weighing heavy on my heart just due to, my personal relationship with my sister and feeling like this was something I had to kind of coach her through. And so I just thought maybe more people needed to hear it. And yeah, as always, if this resonated with you, go ahead and leave a comment or hit me up. If you're dealing with something and you want to talk about it, let me know. If you need somebody to go do something creative with, I'm your girl. You want to go draw in the park? I'm down. But yeah, thank you guys for listening and go be creative. We are all fucking artists. All right, bye. I'll see y'all next week.